So, in Jay's talk just now, he talked about lineage and talked about this wonderful lineage that we're also part of, but also we're part of a community. And one of Jay's superpowers is his ability to build community. And so I wanted to call kind of not just the community that's here now, but part of the community that he's built. Blaine, you're definitely part of that. So thank you so much for helping to build the community. And also folks here who have recently retired. Lois Dubin is here, Sue Darlington, Sabina Knight, Al Mosley was here. These are people who are part of the Smith College community, and we're incredibly grateful for all that you've done to help make Smith what it is and to make the experience for all the students. And Jay, thank you for that part of it. A special thanks goes to Jamie Hubbard. Jamie will be retiring soon, and we're incredibly grateful for all that Jamie has done too to help produce this community. And on that note, I also want to mention Peter Gregory, our great professor here, also of Buddhist studies, who passed away last week, who was such an important part of our community. So in all that, I just wanted to say, Jay, thank you for helping to build the community in the past, in the present, and that one will go into the future, and that we are all part of that community building exercise that you have helped start. So thank you, Jay. Thank you.
Here, Rose. I'm fine.
So I've already talked enough today, and I've already said a couple of things, but just because we all have glasses in our hands now, I just, on behalf of all of your students, Jim, I'm gonna start crying. That's just where we're at today. On behalf of all of our students, I'm just really grateful for you and your generosity. And one thing I would say, it's so remarkable. I mean, it's so remarkable that most of your time teaching has been spent at undergraduate institutions. The majority of your time teaching has been working with undergraduates, and the fact that you have produced not just the 8 of us sitting here, but so many people who have gone on to pursue graduate studies, to go on to do professional work in philosophy, in Buddhist philosophy, in other things. It's really remarkable, and it's really a testament to who you are as a teacher. So, thank you.
Is there room for an impromptu comment?
Sure.
Towards the end of my teaching career, I had the great pleasure of co-teaching with Jay a course called The Meaning of Life, that you are experts at. And we taught 1 year in the classroom, and the next year we had to teach it online because it was the second year of the pandemic. And only with Jay was it possible to teach a course with, what did we have, 90 students? And Jay, the consummate teacher, knew how to handle that and how we could do it online. And all I can say is if I had taught with Jay when I was younger, I would have been a much better teacher. I learned so much from you, and it was fun. It was tremendous fun and intellectually stimulating. And I'm so grateful for that. And also, at other moments, just the moments of life when you share something with a friend, and sometimes it's a difficult moment, I just want to say that Jay, as we all know, is a person of tremendous kindness and compassion and attention. And I'm grateful for advice and help that you offered as one friend to another. To 120.
And it's been such a joy teaching and working with you and knowing you. It has been.
Oh, Sue, did you?
I'll keep it short. I want to pass on from my late husband. You described Jay as the most generous person in the world.
Thank you, Sue.
So, Jamie Hubbard, for those of you who don't know me, I got to the Valley. I'm going to tell an anecdote, and then a collegial brave story, not an intellectual, philosophical sort of story. And the anecdote is that, so I got here in 85, Jay, I think 80 maybe, right? So he had already come under the sway, I believe, of Bob, right, by that point.
Didn't start working with Bob till 87.
Okay, so we sort of got to know each other a little bit here in the Valley. It was, at that time, a much smaller community of people doing Buddhist studies. And then he left, right? Went off to Tasmania, and for a year or two, I was sort of dragooned into doing the program in Sarna, which was a great learning experience. And then I came back here, and fortuitously, Jay came back from Tasmania, and I got a phone call from Jay. He says, "Benny, I have something I have to ask you about." I'm like, what could this be, right? It's been a while since I saw him. And we meet, and I'm completely straight, sober, and everything. And Jay looks at me and says, "So, I just got back in town, and my kids are gone. What are you smoking?" And then the pretty good story I want to tell is,
Jamie, there were children present.
what can I say? Gonzo. And then, in San Diego, again, there were a lot of toasts going around, and I sort of whispered this in your ear, Jay, but, as a colleague of Jay, it's an amazing thing. That's a whole different level when you're in a faculty meeting. And for those of you who don't know it, he's a card-carrying wobbly, and I believe his son is a Trotsky, right? There's a little bit of tension and a philosophical tension, but there's nothing quite like having a wobbly on your faculty. The views and the persuasiveness that he brought to those meetings were just something to be really grateful for. So for that, too, thank you. And then this is...
Anarchy forever.
We're not done, Jay. Tasmania is close to Tahiti, I'm told. Jay talked a little bit about gratitude and a little bit about our lineage that we're all here for, and Peter Gregory. And before all of us was Taipetsu Umno, who passed away a number of years ago. And so on this coming Tuesday, we have 3 people, including his son, Mark Unno, and Ruben Habito, and Judith Sumer Brown, who are all coming here. We've had an annual Unno Memorial Lecture for a number of years now. So that will be here on Tuesday, and perhaps even zoomed out there if I can get my act together. But so in terms of lineages and gratitude, especially from the Shin tradition, of course, gratitude is something that I Unno wrote quite a lot about. So anyways, thanks, Dave.
I was a great teacher, dog.
I just want to say something really quickly. So I'm Maria Heim, and I've had the good fortune of being Jay's colleague since I got here in 2003, and Andy and Suzanne Rotick, and I arrived and thought we were in Pure Land and this wonderful place, but even then we didn't know what we were in for in terms of the intellectual friendship of the community. Mark was a part of that, Sue Darlington, the beloved Peter Gregory, others here, Jamie, so many people who have really made the Pioneer Valley the best place to study Buddhism. And all of you, all of the students who've come through and been part of our lives, and other colleagues have been an extraordinary gift, but I've always felt that so much of that was with Jay, sort of almost at the center, because he's modeled for us such a wonderful version of the academic life is really a life of friendship. And so I won't go on because so many others have talked about the extraordinary generosity of Jay, but I do want to be among the group that signals Blaine and how she's been by his side from the beginning and really helped create the community that we've been so blessed with.
Thank you.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
So I'm Hallie, and I met Jay when I was 18, and I was his research assistant for a few years. And I think he really gave me 3 things when I arrived, and I think all 3 are symbolic. The first was the keys to his office, which I think really symbolized his trust for me and the other research assistants. He said we could study there whenever we wanted, come in, use the computer, etc. The second was he was treat us. And he really took me seriously as a scholar, even at 18. And I felt, when I look back now, I realized kind of incredible power to edit and to really talk about ideas with you. And the third was almonds. About a week into classes, Jay asked me during a meeting, "Oh, so how are things going?" And I said, "Things are going great at school. The only thing is I can't find any almonds, and I really want almonds." So he said, "Okay, no problem." So a few days later, he emails me and says, "Almonds are ready, come get them." And I think that really showed his care for his students. And so I think, Jay, you really set a high bar for mentorship and have introduced me to so many other mentors and really a high standard for care for students. So thank you.
And Haley, you set a very high standard for research assistants. Your work made that good book what it was. Yeah.
If I may, so I'm a current colleague of Jay's in the philosophy department. I've had the pleasure of being his colleague twice. He keeps running away when I join Yale and US, and Smithy hires me and then runs away, so I'm not quite sure what that's about it. We're going to do that again. But I read his work as a master's student when I was doing philosophy. I had no idea what Indian philosophy was at all. And then I encountered him when I was in graduate school. My very first year in graduate school, in fact, Laura and I were both at a conference and met him there, and I was grappling with some things in my personal life and thinking about how to navigate academia. He was very, very kind and thoughtful about how I could see myself in the discipline. And then at these moments where I have joined, first as an assistant professor, now as a tenured associate professor, he's been helpful in mentoring and telling me, here's what you need to do to get tenure. Here's how you can balance these different considerations, not giving me sort of a rosy picture, but being honest about what's involved, but still communicating his sort of joy about the discipline with all its difficulties. So just wanted to say, as a member of the philosophy department here, to thank him for that, and just wanted to say that.
Thank you so much, Malcom. It's been so much fun working with you over the years. So much fun.
So, you want to go ahead? My thing's really short. Well, thank you very much, Dick, for so much. I've been friends for a very long time and always enjoyed. And yes, I was part of this community when I lived in Long Meadow, when I was teaching in this part of the world. Now it's back in California, where I hail from, where every time I come here, I remind her how cold it is. I just want to mention that I remember this trans-Buddhism book.
Yeah.
And I think that came out of these kind of monthly meetings, right? And I published a paper on equal Buddhism. And just to point out that Jay's perspective is not only about Dhammakirti, monotheory, but actually the pragmatic implications of how these things function. And my question before about bioethics is part of this too. We are all part of the world today. The world today is changing more rapidly than we can possibly keep up with. And all these things that we study, obviously, sometimes they're relevant, sometimes they're not. But the search for relevancy, this search for pragmatic power to use what we learn has very much been part of Jay's motivation all the way along. And I've always appreciated that very, very much. So Jay's a Tibet person, I'm a Japan person, yet I think we share that very, very strongly. And that mutual respect is tremendously moving for me, tremendously supportive of my life, I think, as a whole. And this is what Buddhist studies is all about. I'm not trained in philosophy. I'm trained in Buddhist studies. I went to grad school reading texts. That's all we ever did, And yet, there's always a philosophical dimension to it, and how this intersects with or doesn't intersect with Western philosophical traditions. Jay has the courage to ask questions and ask difficult questions and try to clarify what is the Buddhist philosophical perspective, what are the rules, what are the standards for which we can present an argument, what works and what doesn't work. This had a huge impact coming out of India, not only into Tibet, but all the way into Japan. And the things that work and the things that don't work, this is a big problem. And I get more of that in October, yeah. So I just want to make that general statement that for someone like myself coming from really the other extreme of the Buddhist world, and this is also why I very much appreciate Yifa being here, because she's very much in that practical vein. Yifa's work is always immediate. What's happening right now? What can we do? How can we show students what it's like to be in the wooden fish, for example, in the monastic environment, even for 3 or 4 days? What that means for them is huge. It's huge. This is creative thinking, taking that tradition that we have studied from centuries ago and seeing how it works today. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and it's inspiring. And I thank you and all of you.
Thank you, Mark. That was really moving. Thank you.
Hey. Jay has been a role model for me and an enormous influence for 44 years. Since the day I walked into his class on philosophy and affirmative action, I never even heard the word philosophy before that day. This entire time, and I was one of those students who was nodding my head when the rest of you were so beautifully articulating his many pedagogical virtues and other kinds of virtues. I don't want to be redundant and say the same thing, but one of his superpowers that was certainly salient for me was he seems to understand what a student needs when they need it. So in my time of need, he said what I needed to hear, and he directed my undergraduate studies. He really was college for me, and I'm a philosopher today. I lead the life I do very much because of him, and I've never forgotten that. And he continues to be a role model. What would Jay do? What would Jay say about this? Is a sort of common thought that runs through my head. And I really can't I can't exaggerate how much of an influence he's been on me. I've tried to think of him as sort of like a Kantian regulative ideal. I try to be the teacher he was. I know I can't quite do it, but I hope to continue to do this, and I'm so glad to meet you all, and I was so heartened by knowing about this event and being able to attend. So thank you, Jay, for giving me so much.
Thank you so much for it. I can't tell you how much it means to me that you're here, and it's really something.
Well, this is a non-alcohol. Well,
But she's Chinese, not Japanese.
But if she's good, she'll be reborn as Japanese.
Well, I was born in Taiwan. Taiwan is Buddhist nun. Well, when I heard that I have this conference in honor of Jay, and I just say, no matter how, I have to come. I this morning, come from Cambridge. Right now, I'm at Harvard, associated with the Asia Center. And I have to apologize that I did not know that you have the class at Harvard. Yeah. Apologize. I keep asking people, I say, what is the JC class? I have to come. But anyway, I like to say that in 2017, I was invited by, Jay, and then along with the faculty here, I came here to stay for 2 weeks. I was told here and had lots of interaction with the not just Smith College student and also Amherst and B5. And that was, the tremendous experience for myself, from a Buddhist nun and, kind of spend 2 weeks and really being here, interacting with the faculty and students. And so since then, Smith is really my community, really. And so I remember started from 2012, also that, Peter Gregory, I invited him we went to China and to hold the Platform Sutra in Nanhua. And also, of course, 2015, that, I invited Malcom, we studied, we just finished Nirvana Sutra translation. So we went to where Kumarajiva translated from into Chinese, the place used to call Liangzhou, and right now it's Wei, and Jimmy was there, yeah.
No,
And,
Shanghai.
yeah. Well, when Jamie mentioned about Shanghai, it's because Jamie is always, our conversation. When in your retire, bye-bye conference, I'm going to tell a lot of story, my interaction. Very short. And also because inspiration of Jamie, that I also started with Buddhism, Science, and Future. Well, anyway, today we had the conference, the subject on bioethics, and I just want to mention that this June is kind of a sequence of Buddhism, Science, and Future, and we're going to talk about how Buddhist concept about karma and genetic engineering, whether the science will change, our karma, and also about the synthetic embryo that will challenge the Paticca the birth of the life. You need to have a basically, mother and father, and also your consciousness, but whether we can create an embryo in the laboratory. So this is all the issue. And what I want to say is that, when Hussein at Harvard came to me, he really enjoyed your class. I said, oh, Hussein, what did you learn from Jay's class? He said, basically what he's trying to say is, how can we establish Buddhist ethic without reincarnation? That's his understanding. So being a practitioner, among this academic circle, I like to say that I have all this kind of encounter, very interesting. For example, our colleague at Harvard always said, oh, the monks and nuns don't do meditation. Okay, that's one thing. Oh, the monks and nuns, they are not looking for liberation, enlightenment. And when I sit in that class, I say, I do. Otherwise, what am I doing? So, of course, we have all kinds of disagreement, maybe from a practitioner and academic, but I think it's very important. It's to kind of a more open-minded. I just mentioned to Sabina, I brought a scholar from Australia to attend the Platform Sutra, 6-page Platform Sutra, and then this scholar just make a statement that Huineng is a jerk. Basically, that's his statement. And I was very happy because there was no Chinese translation. He presented in English to Chinese audience. that conference was not very professional. So I think that what I'm just trying to say that this is I hope that we really have more. Even though in philosophical we disagree, and And but it's very important. But also I have to say, people like Jay bring this whole philosophical question, and really, I think it would be really a good impact for a practitioner, because a practitioner tend to take the answer from the text as an authority and never question it. Let me share with you one time. I think this is the best interface dialogue that we have a guy called Nuns in the West, and so I also have to dialogue with a Catholic nun, Meg Funk. And one time I just approached Meg, it's only she and I, and finally I said, "Hey, Meg, you're a very intelligent person. How can you believe that there is a personalized God?" And then she said to me, she said, "Oh, Yifa, you are very intelligent too. How can you believe in reincarnation?" I said, "Wow, this is a great dialogue." Interface dialogue. So this is basically, and I also today I was discussing with Jay about, I know that in the past, in academics, we tend to be kind of it will be easy to get a job if you study Buddhism, kind of historic history or textual study. It's very hard for people to get a job if you are studying in a Buddhist philosophy. But he's very optimistic. So right now, see, we have more people get a job here. I think also because you are a good teacher, great teacher. So yeah,
You're really good.
So thank you so much. And Wooden Fish, we usually give, even we are tiny, small foundation, but in 2016 we did, reward Peter Gregory, kind of a life achievement in Buddhism. I feel sad that in Buddhist community we don't recognize that scholars the contribution to Buddhism. So starting from a Wooden Fish Foundation, we just kind of offer a tiny one. And I keep that ceremony on April 16th, because I'm going to bring more than 20 monks and nuns from China, from Taiwan, from Thailand, and Vietnam. I will visit Smith, and thank you for Jenny and then Andy will help to organize. And at that time, we'd like to praise you, the Wooden Fish Life Achievement for you. The monks and nuns, and I hope in the future more monks and nuns will recognize the scholars as achievement. Thank you.
That seems like a great note for us to end on. It's just about 5 o'clock, so I don't know, Andy, do you want to?
No, I just wanted to say, so we have a few minutes, I encourage folks to kind of mingle around. We have our guests here, especially the students. So the students who are still here, to get a chance to talk to some of our invited guests, some of them former Smithies as well, please make the most of that. And one last time, let's just offer a big round of applause to our 8 panelists. And I hope that all of you get a minute to come up and give Jay a hug.
Thank you so very much.
It sounds like healthy.